this is interesting, guys, right? Sometimes when you sort of just step back from the industry a little bit, and and I don't know how this works, if there's some kind of like, let us know if this happens to you folks as well, if you're here live, some sort of like, I don't know, some sort of magic universe thing going on. But sometimes when you're really desperate for something, it seems so hard to come by. And then when you actually just step back, relax, opportunities just come to you. And that just happened to you recently. So Matt's not been in the acting industry for quite a while. He's spent 6 years as a professional high performance mindset coach. But he used to be an actor. That's why I'm working with him, because we both, couple up with the mindset work. But obviously Matt knows the industry, knows what it's like to be an actor working in TV. And Matt did some really good shows when he was much younger. But now you just out of the blue, you're still on Spotlight, but you just got an audition the other day, didn't you, for something really good?
Yeah, literally the two things I never cancelled when I quit acting was Act on This subscription.
Yes.
That's on renewal every year. And my Spotlight, I'm still on Spotlight. And yeah, just literally got something through. It's for a new 6-part BBC drama. And I did a self-tape. I think it was last week, something like that. I've not heard anything. But it was one of them things where I'm like, oh my God, I literally couldn't be looking for work any less as an actor. And an audition lands on my lap. And I think there is something to be said for it, because I know for a fact, I first got into acting, sort of doing classes and stuff when I was like 7 or 8. It's something I've always done. And I know, I'm decent at it. I know I'm passionate about it. But I also know I really, really wanted it. Like, I really wanted to be a successful actor. And I do think to the point where sometimes you do come across desperate. And I think actually that probably held me back on certain auditions. And here we go. I've not even got an agent. I'm not looking for work. And literally a 6-part BBC drama just go, could you audition for this? I'm like, all right then.
Yeah, I wouldn't advocate for that in terms of saying that's a great strategy, guys. I'm not saying step back and do no work. Obviously, this is called Act on This. It's all about actually acting on the information that's on this, putting in the hustle and literally working on your career every day. That's generally how results happen. But there is something to do. There's something pretty special in, I don't know, getting your head around the fact that sometimes, I don't know, just sitting in it and being okay, putting out, focusing on the output. And we talk a lot about this in the mindset coaching that we do, Matt. Focus on the output, not the outcome of what you're doing in your career. There's something quite magical about that, where you can actually be okay with going, look, I've done the work, and then what will come to me will just come to me. It will happen. I know it's cliched as hell, and it's so hard to hear that advice. Oh, what's meant for you won't pass you by. And you just want to think, yeah, it will. Loads of shit that was meant for me to pass me by, because I should have got that thing that I taped for last week, and that thing that I taped for the week before. But sometimes it is like you've just, you can't connect the dots looking forward. When you look back, you can go, if I'd have got that job, I wouldn't have got this opportunity now. That's happened to me quite a few times.
I also think, when you're in it and you really want it to work, it's like every audition, or this is my experience anyway, every audition really matters. It's like, this is going to be the one because you can go weeks where you're just sending emails and you don't get anything.
Yep.
So when that phone call comes in, you can put so much weight on it. And I think what was interesting this time around is it just came, and I was just like, oh yeah, that'd be cool to try that again. And I guess just my whole attitude towards it is, I'm really happy in my life. This isn't going to make or break my life. It's just another amazing opportunity that I'm grateful for. Let's just give it our best shot. And I think that approach, it's not about being careless or not grateful, but what it is about is being really comfortable in your skin and in your life first and foremost. And I do believe that comes across in auditions. I think you can smell desperation a mile off, and you can also smell, I don't know if that's the right word, but you can get the vibe when someone's actually really comfortable and genuine in their own skin. And I think that's the difference.
Yep. And mindset is a lot to do with that. So for those people who are wondering, like, why is Matt here? Let's just give you a little rundown if you've just joined us this evening. Good evening, people like Alex and Sarah's in the house. Kerry, how you doing? Let me just zoom in so I can read people's names. BJ, how you doing? Natalie's in the house as well. Annette, thank you so much for joining us. Rich, good evening. Thanks everybody who's here. Leave us a comment if you're here and you've not said anything yet. But yeah, the reason Matt's here, folks, a lot of people will know him because I've done podcasts with Matt. Matt's a high performance mindset coach. I've been obsessed with positive psychology and high performance mindset since 2006, really. So we both, have that interest in common. Matt used to be in the industry as an actor. Obviously, I'm an actor, so we got a lot in common there. And we decided we were going to team up. I had a brand in 2014 called Bulletproof Actor. I put out the world's first high performance mindset coaching program for actors in 2014. 350 people went through that. One person went through it and went on to win an Oscar, did very, very well. Lots of other people went through it and went on to do very well. Not quite Academy Award winners, but they ultimately just got out of their own way, changed their careers because their psychology was really stopping them from achieving the things that they wanted to achieve in the industry. So I thought with the current bloody world as it is, it's not the easiest climates economically, sort of, I guess just around mood and just sort of like, there's not a lot of positivity out there in the world right now. I thought I'm going to bring back Bulletproof Actor. There's probably never been a better time or a more need for this kind of work in the acting industry than there is now. So me and Matt have decided we're running an event. A lot of people here will already have a ticket for it, but we're running an event on the 26th and 27th of November called Bulletproof Actor. It's called Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success Live version 2.0. So it's the new version of this program that I brought out in 2014. But we're teaching it live this time. I thought there's no point in dilly-dallying and giving people work to do on their own. We're going to teach it to you live across this weekend on Zoom. You can, join in from anywhere like in the world. It's all recorded. You'll get access to the full recordings of it. And that's happening on the 26th and 27th. You can go to bulletproofactor.com right now to learn about that program and get a ticket for it. I'll just take you over to the website now, which is there. You can, it's a huge course. It's 8 modules. It takes you literally just through reshaping your entire mindset around success in this industry. But above all, I think what's really special about it, Matt, this is the most practical mindset coaching program that I've ever put together, and really that I've ever seen, because a lot of mindset stuff is really sort of the deep work. People go into their own little worlds and sort of look at all their trauma and figure out why they are how they are. And then that's all very well and good. But at the end of it, they're not really given any steps of how to actually go out and achieve. And this sort of like takes you through a lot of that stuff, but then really sort of helps you start taking action on the things that you want. That's sort of the whole flow of this program. There's 30 days of support and accountability involved in it as well. Afterwards, Matt's going to be running a WhatsApp group and a Facebook group as well for people who come on this program. There's loads of bonuses. There's Rachel. Rachel was the girl who won the Oscar. She's talking about Bulletproof Actor when she did it in 2014. There's loads of bonuses. But if you go to bulletproofactor.com, you can find out all about it. But we decided we were going to do some Q&A tonight. We thought, you know what, we'll just bring some more value. And then also on Saturday, for those people who missed it, the last time we did it last month, we're doing this free coaching session one last time. We'll never do this again. We'll probably never do this again, Matt. Well, I don't think we will we? Because it's going to be a pre-recorded program after this. Yeah,
that'll be it.
Yeah, so this is literally the last time we're ever going to run this training. This is completely for free, happening this Saturday. It's on Zoom again, 29th of October, 10 till 11:30 a.m. If you go to actonthis.tv/mindset, you can literally put your name and email address in, and it'll send you a Zoom link right now. It'll send it you instantly. Keep that Zoom link safe, and then join us at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. That's actonthis.tv/mindset. If someone could write it in the Facebook comments for me now, that would mean the world. actonthis.tv/mindset. Go get your place on that. And then it's bulletproofactor.com to read about the main event. But we're just going to be here for you now for like the next 45 minutes, just to talk for free, all things mindset and like strategies that Matt can help you with, stuff that I could maybe answer for you, anything that you're really finding difficult to break through in your acting career right now, maybe because you are getting in your own way, whether that's anxiety, self-confidence, procrastination. What are the things that because you coach a lot of clients, Matt, what are the things you find people in general that would still apply to actors? What are the main blocks for just humans that are stopping them achieving the things that they want?
Self-belief. So I think we kind of have this thing where we half believe it, but we don't fully believe it. And I think it's that fully believing it that's the difference. I think for most of us, and think about this, if you're watching this live now, ask yourself the question, is this me? Most of us, you do it as well, Ross.
I'm doing it, yeah.
Most of us, we kind of look at our goals and we kind of look at our dreams and we kind of think, yeah, I want it. I kind of want it. I'd love it, but I don't actually know if I've got the ability to do it. I hope I have. So what I need, and this is the key bit, is I need more evidence now to really give me the confidence to push forward. So I need external validation. I need casting directors to say, well done. I need drama teachers to tell me, you're great, you've got this, to fully give me the confidence to keep taking massive action to move forward. So that's what I want you to think about. Is this you now? You need that to fully have self-belief. In actual fact, when we look at the quote unquote greats of the world. And I'm not just talking about acting, people like Elon Musk, for example, who's literally invented things that have never, happened before. And we talk about athletes that have broken world records and things like that. What we have to do is be led by faith and not sight. So we have to take action based on genuine self-belief that this is going to happen. I don't need evidence. I don't need validation from anybody else. Now, obviously, it's a fine line between delusion.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just never going to happen. But if you think of people like, those people like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, J.K. Rowling, I always think of her with, 12 publishers declined her before she got Harry Potter published.
Yeah,
12 rejections. She didn't stop after the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth. Like, that's a lot of rejection for somebody who I believe was pretty much like homeless, like had and was practically penniless broke, I believe. But she believed that Harry Potter would be a big success. And here we are now. It's laughable to think it wouldn't be. So I think that's one of the biggest things, when you ask me that question, what's one of the biggest things, not just in the acting industry, but in people's lives in general that holds them back, is they don't have that true self-belief. They hold on to and latch on to bolting on other people's beliefs. I need other people to validate me. And then just maybe then I'll kind of believe I can achieve it. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And that's what I then work on with people is how do we build that true, authentic internal belief so that we can keep moving forward no matter what the challenge is, or indeed, no matter what other people's influences are.
Yeah, because I find when I've operated from that place that you just described there, or I see other actors operating from that place now of external validation as opposed to sort of internal motivation and self-belief and that faith, they live. And again, let us know if you hear live, just put like, yeah, that's me if you're happy to be honest. Is you live a real yo-yo roller coaster of a ride of emotions in terms of you'll go to who's been to an acting class 1 week, right? You go to your acting class, your weekly acting class or whatever, you go 1 week, you get incredible feedback, you walk out feeling like, the best actor in the world. You walk out saying, I smashed it, absolutely nailed it. Yep, I am so high on confidence. Yep. It's all come externally, but you're really, really high on confidence. And then literally I'm talking 7 days later, just 7 days, you will go to that same class the week after, and you will not get that same feedback again, or you'll forget your lines, you'll fuck up or whatever, and you walk out feeling absolutely worthless and shit. And like last week was just a fluke, and that's it, you don't actually have it. And it's incredible how you can literally be a 9 out of 10, a 10 out of 10 in confidence, like on that Thursday night. The following Thursday night, you can be like a 2. And you walk away going, oh my God, and it's torturous. And I've had it where I've literally, I used to do this, where you go, why am I even doing this? Why am I in this industry? Why am I actually like every week consciously putting myself through hell? Why don't I just go and get a normal job? And it's because you are seeking all of that belief and that validation in yourself and your ability from other people, a round of applause, a casting director, an agent who pops into class 1 week or whatever, as opposed to, having that faith in yourself. And really, I mean, if people are struggling with this, what are the practical strategies they can use? Obviously one thing is doing the work, like, so that you're putting in the effort so that last week wasn't a fluke because you did the work to achieve that result. And maybe the week where you got a shit result, you didn't put the work in. So then it's evidence to go, oh, well, I just didn't work hard enough.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just want to say as well, for anybody that knows or ever was an actor with me, Ross, just for full transparency, you literally described me. That was my week. Okay. Every week. I mean, I just so people
I only know because I lived it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. When I was doing classes in Manchester, I went to is it Act 4 TV, the Michael Jackson one?
Yep.
And also David Johnson. And for those who are familiar with David Johnson, really, yeah. So I'm sure lots of people will remember, in particular, going to David Johnson's, and literally, if he said something good about you, you was on top of the world.
Yep.
And you could go the next week, think you delivered the same performance, and just get torn apart and go, oh, I want to quit. This is the worst thing ever. And also, again, full transparency, it still happens today to some degree for me as a coach. There's sometimes I had a session, a group session recently, and a lady said, because I'd been doing a lot of interview coaching, and I just did a solo session, and she said, wow, Matt, it just reminded me like how good it is just have a session with you again. And that really gave me that confidence that had lacked a bit because I hadn't been doing it as regular. So the thing I just want to highlight for saying that is it's okay to need external validation and to want it. You're a human being, and we're always, to some degree going to want external validation. To some degree, we're going to be influenced by other people's opinions. So what we're not saying, and this is something Ross and I are quite big on, there's a lot of kind of surface level coaching. And I think we've seen it a lot with like some of the American life coaches and things like that. Not to stereotype, but I just kind of did.
It's true, though. I see it a lot, yeah.
It's a lot of these cliche sayings and phrases. And we're not saying you shouldn't ever want external validation. If you do, you're a pussy, as we'd have been told by some of our previous coaches.
Yeah.
What we're saying is it's normal, okay? But what we need to do is understand it a little bit more, become more self-aware, and maybe have some tools in place so that it doesn't fully guide us all the time, so that we're not always at the mercy of our emotion and things like that. One of the biggest things that I say to clients that is so simple but such a game changer when you commit to it is if you want to build genuine, authentic confidence and genuine internal self-belief, you want to make sure that you write a list right now of all the things that when nobody else is watching, what can you do where you will know if you did it or not, right? Yeah. So what are the things that you will know if you took the easy route and you let yourself off the hook? But equally, you will know if you took the harder route. So it might be something like when you're in the gym doing an extra set or an extra few reps. It might be something like when you're going for a walk, going on a slight jog rather than just going slow paced. It might be taking the stairs rather than the elevator. It might be doing something just out of the goodness of your heart for somebody else without getting recognition. What are the often small things throughout the day where it's so easy to take the easy route, but if you took that slightly harder route, you will know that you did it. And what this is about is building up votes for the identity of being a person that is a good person, that has good morals, good values, that is a hard worker, that puts effort, that values effort and doesn't value being lazy or letting themselves off the hook. The more you can kind of like tot up these votes for those identities, the less you need other people to validate that identity. Does that make sense? I really want this to hopefully be a little bit of a catalyst in people's minds.
It's something that we go really deep in the main Bulletproof Actor program. Is something that is, I mean, we won't give it all away now, but I mean, we can talk about it a little bit because it might be a light bulb moment for people who really, really need it. But when we talk about goals and goal setting and these outcome-based goals that so many actors literally have all their validation and self-worth based on. So like, even just being asked, oh, what do you do for a living? So many people don't even want to say I'm an actor for fear of the follow-up question, what have you been in? Because for them, the identity of being an actor is that they have to be on TV before they can even say they're an actor. So when they don't have any credits to back it up, their identity as an actor is threatened because they built up this false narrative in their head that's often just been fed to them by other people when they first got into the industry, that they can't say they're an actor until they've been on, they've been a regular in Coronation Street or like, they've been in Line of Duty or one of these big shows or whatever. So they have all of their self-worth, all of their dreams, hopes, aspirations built on this outcome of I'll be an actor and I'll be happy when this happens. And then the second thing, so that's how people mostly set their goals. They set their goals based on that outcome. The second thing they then go to is, oh, what do I need to do to achieve that outcome? Right, well, I need auditions then. So I've just got to basically look for auditions, and that's going to be my entire way of actually doing this and achieving that goal. And the one thing, this is what we hammer home, is actually the one thing they never even think about, which is the most important thing of all, is actually nothing to do with the goal or the things that you need to do. It's who you actually need to become as a person and your identity as an actor that then will dictate things called your processes, basically your systems, the actions and processes that you put in place. And importantly,
Ross, as well, what that means is it's who you believe you are. When we say identity, who do you believe? And that's why I'm saying there, it's about these kind of daily little decisions that you are reinforcing a belief, because we know beliefs are not factual, beliefs are something we create based on evidence. If you can give yourself these little bits of evidence every day, you can start to form an identity you truly believe in. That's then, as Ross is saying here, makes you more likely to follow those actions, those processes, to get those results.
Yeah,
and I
because
think that's where a lot of people go wrong.
Yeah, and if you're the type of person who's building that evidence in all areas of your life, you're the person who does that extra 3 reps in the gym. When I'm guilty of this, and I'm very conscious when I'm doing it. I'll set myself. I'm going to do 3 sets of these chest exercises in the gym. I'll do 3 sets of bench press, and I'll just do 8 to 10 reps basically per 3 sets, and I'll do that for the first 2, and I might get 10 out on both sets, and I go. If I'm having a day where I just go, I'm just going to complete the sets, that 3rd set would just be 10 again. I'll just do 10. As opposed to going, why are you setting yourself for 10? This is the last set. If you've got 12 or 13 in your arms and your chest, why are you not doing 12 or 13? And if you push yourself, I don't know if anyone does this in the gym. Sometimes I think if I'm waiting on an audition, I kid myself. I go, you're going to get the job if you do 13. You're going to get the job if you do 13.
You've never told me that before. You've never told me, but I do exactly the same. I've done exactly the same.
Does anyone else do that? Does anyone else have it? Or you'll flip it and you'll go, something bad's going to happen if I don't do 13.
Well, no, I was going to say I used to have an awful one, which is a little bit weird to admit this, but it was in the early days since like I'd lost someone that died. And I used to think if you do an extra few sets, she'll come back alive. Obviously she never did. That's deep, isn't it? But what this is, like, just to make it clear, these are what you're creating is emotional triggers. So you've got like an emotional attachment to that. I've got an emotional attachment to that person that died. You've got an emotional attachment to getting that job. As human beings, we are very much led by emotion. If we can tap into that and use it for a positive, I can see there Sarah's just said, I used to do that with swimming. So we're not the only ones, Ross.
We're not that weird then. But go on, Matt.
No, I just see someone else. Another Sarah says, I trick myself all the time. So pleased to meet others that do this.
Nice
pleased
one,
to
Sarah.
meet you.
Yes. So, but what I'm saying there is I'm building evidence for my identity that I'm a person who goes that extra step, even if it's just in, that's one area of my life, but every part of your life affects every part of your life. I'm always a person, I will always take the stairs. I'll never, ever use a lift in my apartment block. It's 6 flights of stairs every single day, even today with a heavy bag. And I went shopping in Sainsbury's and I bought her bags up. I'm like, I'm not getting the lift unless I've got a shopping trolley. I'll get the lift, not carrying that up the stairs. But you're basically putting these little votes on the board for your identity to go, no, you know what? You are resilient. You are that person who goes the extra step. You are that person who, does the nice thing, who doesn't need to post it on Facebook when you've bought somebody, a homeless person, a sandwich. I see that all the time. And I get it. I understand it's a nice thing to maybe inspire other people to do. But some people just do shit like that just for likes on Facebook or views on YouTube. Oh, I'm going to go and buy 100 Happy Meals and film myself giving them out. Just go and give them out. And
I just want to say as well, Ross, to make this like really practical tonight, if you're watching this now live, have a think, like, is that you? Do you let yourself off the hook? Do you create excuses? And if so, can you think of just one thing tonight that you're going to commit to doing from tomorrow or whenever? It doesn't have, this is something, again, Ross and I are big on. It's not about changing the world in one day, but
tiny things.
One thing. Is it going to be that you're going to go for a walk every day for 5 minutes, or you're going to do an extra set in the gym or whatever? Actually use this tonight rather than just a chat and listening to me and Ross chatting. Use it for your own life and think, this is that phrase, every area affects every area. So even though taking a walk every day or doing extra sets in the gym or any of these things we're discussing might not seem related to acting, I promise you, when you're doing things that build those votes for the sort of identity you want, which is I'm an action taker, I'm somebody who values giving best efforts, I'm a logical thinker, I'm somebody that's empathetic, whatever that identity is, when you build those votes, it will affect. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud, Ross. You were saying about, I've just had an audition for a 6-part BBC drama. And as you were saying that, I was also thinking I'm also lucky to go on Steph's Packed Lunch on Channel 4. I'm doing that again this week, which is, a Channel 4 live TV thing, which is an amazing experience. I've just finished filming my own YouTube mockumentary.
Which is brilliant.
Thank you, Rose. I'm going to try and get commissioned because I believe it's good enough. And I've been able to afford to create that, which I wouldn't have done a few years ago. And I'm here talking on this. Now, if I go back 5-6 years ago, whenever it was, when I was still really focused on being an actor, These would have been goals. Like, I'm sure, again, anybody listening now, put a yes in the chat or whatever. Like, if you was doing a live course with Ross Grant on Act on This, like that'd be a pretty cool thing to do, right? If you've been following him, if you've been inspired by his guests and so on, to be asked to join him, that's something I would have aspired to do. Being regularly live on Channel 4 on Steph's Packed Lunch, I would have aspired to do. Having the resources to film my own 7-part series, I would have loved to have done. Now, I've not worked on being an actor the last 6 years. What I have worked on is being the best version of myself, being the most congruent, confident, fulfilled, happiest person. And naturally, these things have started to come to me because I'm naturally wanting to do the acting. You know, it's who I am. And so it's kind of happened. Again, we must stress, we're not saying just go away and forget acting and it'll come to you. But what I am saying is when you work on being the best version of you, naturally you show up different, you move differently, and people gravitate towards you, is what I guess we're saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it is because that whole thing, every part of your life affects every part of your life. If you are becoming, because acting and being a human being is so intrinsically linked, because you are the tool that you are using in your work. It cannot be closer. You are literally tapping into your own emotions in your work. So if you cannot master your emotions will master you. Like, so if you work on just mastering them in any part of your life, you're going to become a better actor. And that's definitely, evidence there, that we've got there, Matt. You've become a better person. But when you become a better person, and then you get the opportunities that you've got there, but it will spill over into the acting in terms of if you put those votes on the board for taking the stairs every day, you will be the one on a Friday, you'll go, you know what, I've got 20 minutes. I can knock out that email to Victor Jenkins tonight that I was going to actually just do maybe over the weekend, but I probably won't, because that's just what always happens. Life gets in the way. So I will do it now. And, my girlfriend sent one email out a couple of weeks ago, ended up with two massive auditions for it. Like, there were the big TV shows she had to sign NDAs for just to even get the script. I was very jealous, but you know what? I was like, do you know why I didn't get the opportunities? And one of those tapes she did actually was for a Emmy-winning show, a massive comedy that I'd love to be in. And actually, in the scene, she was playing part of a couple. Can't go more into that, but there was the part of a boyfriend in it, and I'm like, oh my god, wouldn't it be amazing if I could play that part? And, we're boyfriend and girlfriend in real life. You could play that. We'd have chemistry. It'd be great. Do you know the reason I didn't get the opportunity to self-tape for that show? Because I didn't send the email. Simple as that. Simple as that. Yep. Like, she got it because she sent the email. It's not a coincidence that she sent the email and then got the audition an hour and a half later. That wasn't a submission off Spotlight. I'm not having that. That was, she sent the email, it turned up on that person's inbox and they read it. You don't send an email and get an audition an hour and a half later if it was, it's not a fluke or a coincidence. That has to be cause and effect. The reason I didn't is because I didn't send an email that day. So, it's like, it does spill over. You will take more action, and it can literally be something so small, so seemingly insignificant as an email that day that could change your life. It's huge. So yeah, just becoming sort of better in all areas and putting votes on the board for your identity of who you believe you are will pay massive dividends in your
and just to be
career.
Clear, that's what we're saying. I think the first thing, if you are watching this, is to think, what is the identity you truly want? Like, is it that you are a go-getter, an action taker, somebody who values doing the right thing? What is that identity? Let's get really clear on that. And then it's about going, what's one thing I can do every day this week? What's one thing I can commit to? It doesn't need to be big. It could take you 60 seconds, if that, but you're going to commit to do it. And, in doing that consistently, you're building up those votes for that new identity. And then from there, you can add more things. And honestly, guys, this isn't a quick fix. This isn't an overnight, I'm just going to do this for 1 week and then suddenly I'll be super confident. This is an ongoing process you want to commit to working on. But I promise you, hand on heart, from experience and from helping many other people with this kind of stuff, it will give you rewards in the long term. 100%.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even little things. So, one thing that I've committed to is drinking 3 liters of water a day. Normally I'd have a tea here or a coffee or something like that. Yeah. And doing 10,000 steps a day. Now, I've not managed to do that every single day, but I've put a really freaking good effort in. If I go back on my step count on on my iPhone now. So 10,859 today. So I did do it today. But, if I look back over a week, there was a day there, 7,442, 8,515, 8,053. The rest were over 10,000 that week. But it's just, there's not a day where I go, I completely slacked to let myself off. So it's all little votes. You might not actually hit it every single time, but as long as you're putting your best in, it all mounts up for that real authentic confidence you have in yourself. So no, I'm a big believer in that, and also think not just about the identity that you want or what you believe you need to be to become the thing that you get the things you want. Look at what I really want to know what people's identity is now as an actor, and if you are falling into that trap where you feel that the identity of an actor is someone who is on TV. Because I also see a lot of actors as well who do great work in independent film. I mean, really great independent films, Matt, as well. Like pretty decent budgets, looks great, sounds great, but they still are invalidated as an actor. They don't believe they can truly say they're an actor because it's not been on a telly. It's not been on someone's TV, even though it's probably better than it's miles better than a day player in Coronation Street. It's like they've just had like a leading role in a feature film that's an independent film. It's miles better than having 2 episodes of Emmerdale, but they still don't feel it counts because it's not been on TV. So look at what you are believing the identity of an actor is and how you are relating to that. And if that's completely invalidating you and stopping you from really taking the action that matters, the things that, for me, being an actor is someone who's creative, creates their own work, is resilient, hardworking, tenacious, like goes the extra mile, always give their best, all these things that you can, and there's things and actions you can do and you can take on a daily basis to back those things up that aren't just being on a telly. So I just have a think about how you're relating to the industry and if what you think an actor is actually invalidating you and disempowering you and filling you full of limiting beliefs, because it's real. So we'll give some people a shout out and then we'll do Q&A. We sort of went off on one there, but I think that is important. Let's just do 20 minutes of Q&A. What's the biggest thing? And I'll go back now, that you guys who are watching live are struggling with? Like, what are the things where you're like, right, this is getting in my way again? Gary, good evening, mate. I know you're doing the full Bulletproof Actor weekend with us, so thanks for being here. And anyone else who's doing that as well, let us know in the chat. Bulletproofactor.com if you want to learn more about it, or actonthis.tv/mindset if you want to do another free training with me and Matt on Saturday, totally free, 10 a.m. till 11:30 this coming Saturday. That's actonthis.tv/mindset. But let me know. I think there was a few questions. If I scroll back, if Facebook will let me go back far enough. I can see loads of people saying that's me when I was talking about the the class, the acting class. You go 1 week, you feel on top of the world, and then the week after you literally feel like shit because you just haven't done
that was
the work
me.
that you wanted to do. Let's see, what was there? So Kerry says, started making my own work. I've had 3 castings in the past week. Nice one, Kerry. Good work. Or creating your own work. It's always a massive thing because that just fills you full of joy, just being creative and actually, gaining evidence that you can do it by taking the action to create your own stuff is good. Ina says exactly what you're describing is a huge problem even after decades as an actor. That's the acting class thing I was mentioning before. Kerry says she's not had that with classes but has had it with workshops. But yeah, it's a roller coaster ride, that external validation. When you're not getting it, you'll just feel completely worthless if you can't validate yourself, basically. Sarah, says that answers her previous question. Let's see what this is, Sarah, what you're saying here. Getting in touch with casting directors. Just start with one, and I know why I'm contacting them, and I'm confident I can do the job. So if my face fits something they're looking for, I'm helping them. I'll just knock out the devil voice. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Sarah, reaching out and promoting yourself as an actor, it's not just like, okay, it's absolutely your duty to do it. And so many people, again, I think feel they can't do it because they don't truly identify as an actor, Matt. They're like, oh, I couldn't possibly write to Andy Pryor to, maybe be considered for Doctor Who or the A Word because, I'm just little old me and I've not done anything yet. So like, it's pointless. And they just get completely, getting in their own way. When it comes to getting your clients to commit, Matt, and like just push and jump off that cliff, what are practical strategies if people are afraid to they'll type the email out, they'll have their spotlight link in it, they'll be happy with their show reel, but they are hovering over send and they just go, oh, I'll just save it to my drafts and not send it, or I'll send it tomorrow. Like for you, when you're coaching people just in general who are just not actors, like any strategies or practical advice for people to actually just get over the fear and do it anyway?
in that moment, it's just a decision. Let's not hype it up to be something bigger than it is. You just got to bloody press send.
Yeah.
So actually, when I'm working with people as a coach, the biggest thing I do is I just get them into a state of like, come on, let's just let's get on with it and not overthink it. Now, what helps with that is breaking things down, because often the reason people don't press send is because they're overwhelmed, and they're overwhelmed because they're overthinking it. So what if this goes, or what if it's not good enough? Or so they're in their head into the future. They're well into the future with no idea what's going to happen when you press send. But all we've got is this moment, and we'll never know if it's good enough if we don't press send. So for me, it's about breaking it down. It's about rationalizing it. And it's about kind of going, well, okay, what's the worst that's going to happen? Is anybody going to die, from sending this email? Absolutely not. I don't think.
No, I don't think there's any history of that happening.
No, I don't think so. And it's about getting a perspective shift on it and going, so what if it's not right? Like, it's not the end of the world. What we've got to do is recognize we've got a short window of opportunity while we're here on this bloody planet to just take action and try stuff. And for me, one of the best perspective shifts that helps me in my life, and I know certainly helps a lot of clients I've worked with, is to kind of rationalize with, well, what's the worst? Is it to live with regret when you're on your deathbed and think, maybe I should have sent those emails. Maybe I should have given that acting a bit more of a push and a try. Maybe I could have been something and could have done something with it. Or is it to just get a rejection? Like, what's worse? And I think when you rationalize it, I'm pretty sure 10 times out of 10, everyone's going to go, it's much worse to have regret. Like, it's much
Regret's
worse.
the worst, the absolute worst, so. worst thing. I remember my mate, this is completely not acting, but I remember like when we used to go out as as youngsters in our 20s, my mate Liam, shout out to Liam, he met this girl on a night out, and he was like absolutely convinced. Like, he was like, oh my God, that girl over there, I'm like absolutely in love with her, love at first sight. That could be like my wife. We called her his wife like that night. Liam, your wife's over there. And the whole night, he could not, no matter what we did, get the courage, that 5 seconds of courage to go over and just chat to that girl. And he allowed her to leave. Now, the second the opportunity left the building, he had the courage. Bring her back. I'll ask her. Well, we don't know where she is now. It's gone. Boat's past, mate. And he never saw her again on night out. I was like, Liam, you literally... you might have married her, you might have had a family with her, could have changed your entire life, but because you lacked 5 seconds of courage, you can live by that whole what's meant for me won't pass me by. So you can console yourself with that if you want, but he made an active decision not to go and do it. And actors do this. I see it a lot. They don't want to be the people who throw the hat into the arena, put the show reel out, put a sketch out on Twitter, anything like that, for fear of, I'll do it wrong, or it's not good, blah, 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 blah. The second they see somebody else do it and then they have success, they're like, oh my God, I knew I should have done it. I had that idea weeks ago. I should have done that. Yeah, but you didn't. And now it's too late to do it, because if you do it now, you're going to just copying that other person. It's not going to be as good. It's not going to be original. They always want to do it once the boat has sailed, really. So it's just knowing for me that 5 seconds of courage can change your life, and then making that excitement in your head of what could happen that's good louder than the fear of what could happen that's not good. And 9 times out of 10, like in the acting industry, there's just nothing that's ever gonna hurt you that much. There's nothing that's ever going to completely ruin your career unless you send a very abusive email to somebody. But if you're just doing your best to market yourself, no one's going to go, ha ha, oh my God, Natalie sent an email with a show reel asking, Daniel Edwards, if he'd maybe see her for Line of Duty. Ha ha, what an idiot. Who's going to do that? No one's going to do that. The only thing that's going to happen there, Nat, is if you get an audition, everyone's going to go, oh my God, I wish I'd have done that.
Yeah.
That's it. And then it'll be too late because that part's already been cast or whatever. So yeah, ultimately, just make the excitement of what good could happen louder than the fear of what bad could happen. Natalie says here, and we cover this on Saturday loads, Nat, and obviously massively in the full Bulletproof Actor program as well. But she says, any tips for avoiding procrastination, Matt? Mine seems to come to a head around line learning at the moment. So she's procrastinating around learning her lines.
Yeah, so there's lots to be said on this. As Ross said, this is a huge thing that we cover in depth,
Massive.
both on Saturday, but then we'll go even more depth in the Bulletproof Actor weekend. So I would say if this is quite a common thing for you, you need to be there at least on the free one on Saturday. But if you can, be on the paid one at Bulletproof Factor, because we're going to annihilate procrastination. But just to touch on it, to hopefully give you some help this evening, the first thing that I think really, really helps with procrastination is I look at how I'm scheduling my week. So for me, the one of the things that used to make me procrastinate a lot is, if we break it down, procrastination is generally caused by the fact we're stressed out and we're overwhelmed. So we've got too much going on. There's we've got a new prime minister today. We've got, price of everything's going through the roof. We've got all these daily stresses just going on in our brain. And our brain basically wants to de-stress. Our brain wants to go, whoa, this is not nice coping with stress all day, every day. So you've got all this going on, and then you think, and shit, I need to learn all my lines. It's kind of like, it's one stress too many, even though whether Rishi Sunak's in power or not is actually pretty irrelevant to your daily life right now. Actually, the priority is the line learning. It doesn't matter. Your brain doesn't look at it like that. It just goes, what's the thing I can get rid of with stress? Now, for me, we get more stressed and we get more overwhelmed when we do a to-do list. Like, how many of us maybe starts the week or the day with good intentions and creates a to-do list? Now, that was where I found that I was going wrong, because when you look at that to-do list, how does it make you feel? Yeah, right. You've got 20 things written down that you have to do. Super stressful. So I'm still an advocate of writing down what you need to do, because straight away, taking it out of here, out of your brain, and putting it on paper does help a little bit, because you can now see it physically. But I then believe in taking it a step further, which is to schedule it in everything, whether it be that week or that fortnight or that month, so that you give it a specific time in which it needs to be done. What that does is immediately remove overwhelm, because you're like, oh, right, everything I know I need to do, I also know has been allocated a time and a place. Therefore, I don't have to stress about it so much. I just need to look at my schedule and work through it. And also, because you put everything in time bound, it creates a little bit of positive pressure, because it's like, oh, I really want to get to the end of this week and feel super fulfilled that I did everything I said I was going to do. That's going to feel super rewarding.
It's good for the identity again as well from before. It's good for the identity. So for me, part of my identity is I always do what I say I'm going to do, basically.
Yeah, that's it. And so for me, that's a big one. It's when we look at procrastination, it's to do with overwhelm and stress. When we look at overwhelm, we've got to think, how can we chunk the overwhelm down so it's less overwhelming, and then we're more likely to do it. And again, we're going to go into loads of depth about that, but just to give it a really generic overview, that's what procrastination is. It's trying to avoid stress. Now, there's certain stresses in life we can't get away from, but by taking time to kind of methodically work things out, we remove stress, and therefore we're in a better mental state and we're more inclined to do what we need to do. Another thing I would always say with procrastination is, when you are scheduling your days, find the thing you least want to do and put that in the schedule as early as possible. It's a phrase I believe is called eat the frog.
Eating the frog, yeah.
Yeah, and ultimately what it's talking about is getting the thing out of the way as quickly as you can. Because often when it comes to procrastination, what it is we don't want to do it, so then we'll do something that's easier, thinking, oh, we'll create a bit of momentum and then we'll do it. But the point is that was easy anyway. So then we go, oh, I feel like it's like a false reward. Well, I've done something. Oh, I'll put that off to tomorrow. And it just keeps getting put off. So I think a big one is do a schedule, number one. And number two is put that thing in early as possible that you least want to do. But the other thing I'd say about doing that thing you don't want to do, here's another top tip. Don't schedule in 3 hours of doing that thing you hate. Maybe schedule in 20 minutes or 15. Because again, something else we'll be covering on procrastination is it's not usually about actually doing the thing that's overwhelming us. It's just getting started. And if you can just get started, you'll often find you start to create momentum. And when you create momentum, you'll often probably do more anyway. So again, some of the things that adds to overwhelm and therefore adds to stress and therefore creates more procrastination is saying, right, I need to get my accounts done, or I need to send 300 emails off to casting directors. I need to learn the whole script this week or whatever it may be, rather than going, I'm going to put aside 10 minutes first thing in the morning to learn my lines, and I'll see how far I get in 10 minutes. And then I might have 10 minutes at lunchtime, or 10 minutes in the evening, or 10 minutes tomorrow, whatever. Breaking it down, what you'll find, the secret really is you'll probably do 15 or 20, because once you're in the flow, you think, oh, 10 minutes went quite quick, I'll do a bit longer. So they're kind of a few kind of bite-sized quick tips I'd give around procrastination.
No, it's great. And honestly, like, scheduling is absolutely critical. We do something called the BPS model about, like, brain dumping everything you've got to do, prioritizing the things, and, scheduling them out. But we had to do that ourselves, Matt, creating the Bulletproof Actor program. This is roughly, 16 hours of coaching we had to put together. And I mean, like, almost, I would say, I don't know, Matt, what would you say? I would say, like, literally, it's almost every minute of that 16 hours is scheduled with a slide. In terms of, like, that there will be literally 1,000 slides probably that we will go through with you guys. Don't get overwhelmed by that. I just mean in terms of, we've effectively written these modules out almost like scripts. So we know we can cover everything that we want to cover in that 16 hours. And we've had to schedule, obviously, days ourselves to go, right, this is the 2 days we're going to do our brain dump and how we're going to actually structure this course. Now we're going to, schedule a day where we break it down into modules. We've scheduled days where we're actually writing up and branding the whole thing. It doesn't happen by accident. We don't run this massive weekend just, for a laugh and just sort of like, go, oh yeah, well, we'll just sort of, we kind of know what we're doing. It's been literally scheduled within an inch of its life. And it will be when if you guys, bulletproofactor.com, if you guys, get a ticket and get involved in it, you'll see that things just really good things do not happen unless you schedule time to do them. You'll just wing it basically if you don't, and it also gives you that freedom, Matt, like you said, where you go, okay, I know I've got a lot to do, but actually I can now see evidence that I've got time to do it. Because if you just create a to-do list, who does this when you create a to-do list and you don't prioritize anything within it, you'll start, I've done this before I knew how to do this properly. I'd start a task, Matt, and then I'd start in the back of my thinking, you shouldn't be doing this task because you've got that other thing to do. Oh my God. And you feel it in your core. It feels horrible. It's like a sickness feeling, a real anxious feeling. Yep. And then you'll stop halfway through what you set off to do. And you might even I can spend 20 minutes paralyzed in this sort of almost sort of jittery mess of going, oh my God, I've got so much to do. I don't know what to do first. And that's because I hadn't scheduled it maybe the night before.
I'm laughing because that's exactly me again. You've literally described, and this was about 6 or 7 years ago. I didn't actually learn this from anyone. I just decided to do it one night. And I promise you, I've said this a lot and it's the truth. I still do this pretty much every single day. For about 20 to 30 minutes each evening, I sit down and I dedicate that time to think, to prioritize, and to schedule the next 24 hours. And if I haven't done that, oh my God, it's an entirely different day. I feel that anxious. Like, I know I've loads of stuff to do, but which do I start? It's just exhausting mentally, knowing I've stuff to do, but not knowing where to start and not knowing what's the priority. So I highly, highly recommend, if you're regularly procrastinating, take more time to schedule. Think about putting the thing you least want to do as early as possible, and don't overwhelm yourself by scheduling a lot of time. Obviously, if you have the luxury, if you've got a script to learn like in 24 hours, you just got to get it learned. But, if you can break it down and chunk it down to 20 minutes, 10 minutes, things like that, remember, the overwhelm comes from just getting started. That's the thing that's creating the procrastination. If you can get over that first hurdle by using, as we call, the path of least resistance, making it as simple and as easy to start, and removing that overwhelm, the chances are you'll probably do a bit longer anyway.
Yep. Defo, honestly, it's key. We'll cover that obviously in massive depth on the full weekend. Sarah, we've got a couple of minutes left to just cover a couple more things. Sarah says, and this is really relevant to me, Sarah, as well. You put, how about getting back in the room after getting so used to self-taping? You put nerve central there. So I today found out tonight that I've got my first in-person, in the room casting that I've had. Some people have had loads by now, but it's the first one that I've had that since before the pandemic, it's not been a self-tape or a Zoom recall. Luckily, it's with a director that I worked with on a BBC Two drama earlier last year called Then Barbara Met Allen. So I know Bruce Goodison, the director, but I'm still feeling, Sarah, to be honest with you, oh my God, like this isn't a self-tape where I get 12 takes at this like normal. I really have to be on my lines, and really understand this script in order to give a good performance. There's 2 quite big scenes to learn. And I've got a live broadcast that I'm doing tomorrow night with Jill Trevellick, and this audition's Wednesday morning. So I've got a very finite amount of time, again, which I'm going to schedule in a minute. I've already preliminarily sent producer Petch, a WhatsApp to go, listen, mate, between 3 and 5 tomorrow, will you just run these scenes with me as many times as we possibly can so I can get these lines in my head? I'll record them on Line Learner. I'll play them in my head over and over after the broadcast tomorrow as well. But I get it, Sarah, because, I'm really, really busy. I don't have the time or the luxury to go, oh, I'm just going to do these lines whenever. I've had to really look at the schedule tomorrow and go, how already on a packed schedule can I put 2 hours, an hour per scene into running these scenes as often as I can, with Petch to really get them in my head. And ultimately, you've just got to make that time. But if I didn't schedule it and I said to Petch, oh, can you run these lines for me when we get a spare minute tomorrow? Never happen. If you go, listen, between 3 and 5, this is what we're doing, it'll happen. It has to happen.
It's accountability as well, right? Yeah, and I just want to add a few things. I think first thing is, it's natural to be nervous. You've not done it in a while, and that's okay. I would just try and reframe your perspective on that and go, well, it's because I care. It's because I really want this to go well, and I care about doing a good job. And so when you think about it as being, it's because I care, you can now reframe what might have been nerves to just be excitement. And it's actually the same, physically, it's the same things that you're going to feel through nerves and excitement anyway, the same butterflies in your stomach and so on. So I think that's the first thing, is just reframe it to be, I care about this. I want it to go well. I'm excited about it. And it's perfectly natural to feel this way. The second thing I would think about is, the casting director wants you there. They've asked to see you, right? So they're not sat there, as we can often get in our heads as actors. And again, I've been there and thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be the worst person on the day. They want me to fail, and all this kind of thing. Just to get an audition is a huge achievement. With the amount of submissions casting directors get, the amount of people they bring into a room is often 10 people, something like that. So it's a great win anyway. And they bloody want you to be great. They're rooting for you. They're excited to meet you. They're excited to see you. So just see it. Again, perspective shift. This is a really beautiful exchange I've got the opportunity to have with another human being. I would say, don't put them on the pedestal as these are the gatekeepers to the rest of my life that are going to change my life. Just see it as an opportunity to meet somebody else in the industry that also loves the creative arts, and you can do some work with them. And I think that just changes the whole vibe. I think one of the biggest things is we're putting them on a pedestal. We're thinking they're going to think we're rubbish, and we're just in our own head. So I think that's the next thing I would say. I would also think about, if it doesn't go to plan, what we spoke about earlier is it's not the end of the world. Again, perspective shift. You're still going to get other opportunities.
I'm going to have the script there with me. If I forget a line, I can look down. Don't try and show off an audition by just having the script in the reception. Never, ever, ever. It's the worst thing you can ever do. No one will ever care in an audition, unless it's a recall, that's a bit different. But if it's a first audition, if you have the script on the floor in front of you or even on your knee, because you're not going to be breaking character from that scene. If you forget your line, you can glance down, you've got the line. Don't think, oh, I'm going to show them how much I prepare by leaving my sides in the reception, because if you do get in your head a little bit, they have to stop the whole thing. Oh, I'm so sorry, can I go and get my lines? You'll feel so much worse than actually just having it on your knee. Other thing you were saying there, Matt, don't think for a second that they're not nervous. One thing I'll go in and say is, I'll meet Bruce and Alice Searby, the casting director, and I'll be like, oh my God, this is so weird, guys. And we're back in the room. Like, I'm pretty nervous. Have you been nervous about getting my kit? And they'll probably go, God, yeah, we have. Because it's a performance for them as well. Yeah. And then when you share that experience, then suddenly that's disarmed, that fear effectively. Because you're like, oh God, yeah, it is a bit weird, isn't it? Don't ever be afraid of acknowledging things like that.
It's just seeing them as human beings. I think that's the biggest thing we struggle with, is we don't see them as just a normal person. We see them as this extra special person, and we put them on a pedestal. And I think the more you can see them as a human being, the more they're going to get a natural vibe off you and probably warm to you anyway. So I think there's some of the main tips. And I also want to add as well, just before you go in, again, this is something we touch upon, but it's about recognizing your thoughts and recognizing that often if you're feeling nervous, it's because you're imagining the audition going bad. So what we've got to try and do is go, well, okay, that's not useful. I've got to stop doing that. And what can we do instead? And something that I would often do is replace those thoughts with actually a memory recall and go back to a time in my life where have I got evidence or have I got an example of actually where I was super proud of myself? It doesn't have to be acting related. Obviously, if it is, it can be useful, but just try and, as best as you can, remember a genuine real time in your life where you were proud of yourself. And by committing to thinking about it and taking yourself to those thoughts, naturally, that's just going to make you feel a little bit different as you go into the room. So that's something else I'd say.
Yeah, defo. We're going to cover so much more of this, folks, on on the training on Saturday. Basically, if you want to just, come and hang out with me and Matt Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 11:30, 90 minutes, totally free, where we're going to be talking all about cultivating true confidence, ultimately, getting over that issue so many actors have about belief in their own potential, that self-belief, procrastination, anxiety. Go to actonthis.tv/mindset. Thanks to whoever put it in the chat before on Facebook. Appreciate that. actonthis.tv/mindset. Just pop your name and email into that form and it will automatically send you your Zoom link. Like literally now, you'll get it within 2 minutes of filling that form in. Keep that Zoom link safe. And we'll see you at 10 a.m. Till 11:30 on Saturday morning. My Zoom account can only hold 500 people, and I've got two big other acting companies sending an email out, or two emails out this week to their email list that are about 20,000 actors strong. So they've not gone out yet. So go and get your place now if you're listening to this on the replay or whatever. actonthis.tv/mindset, because when the 500 places have gone, I can't afford a bigger Zoom account, Matt, basically. So we've got 500 people, and we had, I think the last time we did this training, we had about 530 people registered. Not everybody showed up, but we weren't close. We weren't far off capacity. So if you get a place, basically just make sure you get in early and you jump on Zoom a little bit earlier than 10 o'clock. Maybe jump on Zoom at like 10 to 10. But that's actonthis.tv/mindset. And that's happening this Saturday, October the 29th. If you want to find out about the full main event, a full weekend of mindset that me and Matt are doing in November, that's bulletproofactor.com. Bulletproofactor.com. It's just going to be the best weekend ever, Matt. So excited about it. You can read all about the program, exactly what's included in it. But it won't be for the faint-hearted. It will be a 16-hour weekend, maybe more. I mean, we're going through it all now, Matt, as we're making these modules. We're saying 10 till 6 each day, but now we're maybe thinking it might be 10 till 7, 10 till 8.
Definitely, yeah. And we've said potentially we might even do an extra welcome the night before.
We might do a little welcome party. It's not essential that you're not going to be missing out on anything, but we might do on the Friday night just to get people used to Zoom and used to how the training is going to go down. Just basically do a little welcome party. You can come and have a drink with us on Zoom. Just to
get straight into it. Yeah.
So Saturday morning, we're not faffing around or sort of struggling to get people, into the room or anything like that. But bulletproofactor.com if you want to find out all about that, and then actonthis.tv/mindset if you want to get on the free training this Saturday. One last question there. Minetta said, my day job gets in the way of my dreams and my passions. That's something actually in module. Let me see. What module is it? Is it 3? I think this is going to be module 4. It's called Breaking Through the Blocks. Minetta, and one of the things there. So what that module is are the 5 most common sort of killers when it comes to actors' careers and actually committing to taking action. And the number one thing, the first one on the list that we're going to tackle in that module 4, is day job. We're also going to tackle money. We're going to tackle motivation. We're going to tackle rejection, and we're going to tackle overwhelm. That's going to be the 4th module, which will be at the end of day 1. So that is something, again, we're going to be covering in the full Bulletproof Actor program. We're going to cover it all, Matt, basically, and then we'll never have to talk about it ever again. We'll just put a definitive program out there, make everybody bulletproof, and get everybody jobs, get everyone loads of acting work, which is good. But thank you so much for being here, everybody. It really means the world. If you're watching, Tyler, good evening, mate. If you're watching on the replay, just leave us a hashtag replay in the comments here as well, and just shout up in the comments. We'll keep an eye on the comments, Matt, for the next couple of days. If people want to write anything in them, we'll keep an eye on those, and see if there's any other questions or anything that we can maybe cover on Saturday. So if you've got a question you want us to cover on Saturday, maybe pop it in the comments here as well, and we'll check that out. Any final words, Mr. Hall? I don't mean like actual final words for life. I just mean for now.
You're not going to kill me. Good.
No, I'm not going to kill you yet.
Yeah, I think I would just like to end by saying, I know that sometimes, what Ross and I are doing around mindset It's not kind of Hollywood. It's not glossy. It doesn't sell the same as, I know Ross did an amazing course, the first TV role fast track. Now that's just like, oh my God, Ross is going to help me get my first TV role. And as an actor, of course, that sounds like an amazing course. But I just want to kind of stress really that the way you think about yourself and the way you think about the world, and indeed your acting career and the industry, will affect every single area of your life. And what we're saying there is your mindset. Your mindset is, and I mean this with respect, the working on your mindset is way more important than working on getting TV roles and things like that, because you can be told the actions. You can do the first TV role fast track, and you can get all the information, all the secrets, all the blueprints. But if mentally and emotionally you're in the wrong place, you're not going to act on it. And therefore it's useless. And I say that as a coach, that often, well, every time I coach people, I say that. I always say the success of my sessions are not based on what I give you. They're based on what you do with what I give you. And what you do is always going to come down to this, how you feel and think about it. So understanding your own psychology, understanding your own triggers, understanding why you think the way you think, and knowing how to combat your challenges, manage your emotions better, and maybe shift perspectives on certain things, I promise you, is the most valuable thing you could do. It's not just the most valuable thing you'll do for your acting career. It is the most valuable thing you will do for your life, for your relationships, for your happiness, for your health, for your wealth, for your well-being. So I just want to really reiterate that point. Mindset is everything. If right now in your life you feel like maybe you're not where you want to be, or maybe you're doing all right, but you could be doing so much better, then I urge you, please give this Saturday a shot. The free training that we're doing. And if you can, beg, borrow, steal, do whatever you need to get the funds together to actually spend the entire course with us. Bearing in mind, we're giving you 2 pretty jam-packed days, but there's also 4 weeks aftercare where we're going to be doing group coaching, question and answers. You're going to be in a WhatsApp group daily. If you can get involved with that, I promise you, there will be rewards from it, but you've got to commit. You've got to just be ready to throw yourself into it and be ready to do the work. And that's where the rewards will come.
Yep, could not agree more. And if you actually have a look, you stole my tagline there, Matt, because if you have a look at Bulletproof Actor, the tagline is mindset is everything. It's only in small in that red bar there that you might not be able to read. But it changed my life. I mean, everything that we teach on this, but this entire space in terms of positive psychology and science-backed performance. So it's not like airy-fairy, I'm just going to wish for things and sit back and hope they happen. It really is, the science of success. And the science of success hasn't really changed in the last 200 years. It's pretty straightforward, but, like Matt says there, having the information is not enough. I really believe, and why I'm doing this program, is there are 3 parts to a successful acting career. One, of course, is talent, right? It is. You have to be able to deliver a performance, right? But I'm taking it for granted that most people in this community can do that. You're part of an acting community. You guys are here. If you're here live at 10 o'clock on a Monday night, you're committed to that. Without a doubt, you're probably committed to your craft. You've done the work. You are capable of having a career. The next thing is actually the business of the business. And that's what First TV Role Fast Track is that Matt mentioned there. That's basically the fastest route, First TV Role Fast Track, the fastest route by really manipulating and understanding the business side of this business to get in a first TV job, and that's helped 350 people now, dozens and dozens of those people who've been through it have now got their first TV job or have had loads of auditions and are well on the way to their first TV job now. But the thing that stops those people who get the first TV job, or, the people who are getting those auditions, and separate the people who are getting no auditions and they still have the information from First TV or Fast Track, is the fact that they don't have the mindset to go along with it. So I can give you all the information in the world. I can tell you, listen, if you do this, this, and this, that will equal an audition. But if people's mindsets are broken, and actually when they come down to it, when it comes to the crunch, they go, the actual notion of an audition scares the shit out of me. You won't do the work because you don't really want the audition yet, because your mindset's not in the right place to actually deal with it. So the 3 things that equal a successful career is talent, understanding the business, and actually having the mindset to follow through on that understanding of the business. So,
and this is why it's so important as well, because I think as actors, remember, there's more actors than there is work. So what you're trying to look for is the edge. How can I be doing something slightly different? How do I get that edge over, my other competitors? Ultimately, that's the reality of it. And I think the reality is, the vast majority of actors are working on the talent. They're going to acting classes weekly. They're doing workshops. It's all focusing on the craft of being a better actor. How many are investing time every week into the business of acting, understanding how to be a better marketer and a better business person? And one step further, how many are truly investing time every week on their mindset, on their personal development? And I would say a tiny percent, but I bet you that tiny percent that are invested. And I bet you the tiny percent that are investing are the ones that long-term will win time and time and time again. When they've got the right mindset, when they've got the correct attitude, the confidence, the self-belief, the patience, they'll keep winning. Those that are just going for the short wins of I'll just keep learning lines and doing more scripts. But mentally, they're still nervous all the time, don't believe in themselves. I think they'll have a harder time. So yeah, it's about finding the edge. And for me, as I say, not just your acting career, mindset is everything, as Ross has said there on the tagline. If you want the edge in your acting career, this is for you. If you want the edge in your life, as cliche as that sounds, this will help you get that. Yep. It's going to take work. I think that's always a caveat I want to add. I'm not saying it's a magic pill we're going to give you over that weekend. If anyone's got them magic pills, give me one. It'd be amazing. This is about genuine work, and it's about consistent habits and practices that you've got to learn and commit to doing. But as we've kept saying tonight, they work, they're science-backed. We've both lived and breathed it for years, as in Ross and I. Yeah. And that's why we swear by them.
I would not be doing what I'm doing. I would not have this community. I would not have this business. You guys would not be watching me right now. I would not have this audition on Wednesday. I wouldn't have had all the work about it. I wouldn't have any of it if I hadn't have really gone deep on my own personal development and psychology in 2006. That's 16 years of this. Matt's been like a professional at this in terms of qualifications and really diving deep into this. I've just got anecdotal stuff that I've done. I've read, dozens and dozens of books, and I've implemented stuff and really sort of like figured out my own strategies and my own systems. But Matt's really gone deep in this from like an actual qualified, like more clinical psychology kind of stuff. So I think we complement each other quite well, Matt, and it's changed both of our lives. Like, honestly, in terms of getting our heads right, has really fueled every other area of our life. So if there is a sticking point now, and you're like, you know what, I know I'm good enough. I know if I could just get in the room, I could get the parts, and you might even have all the information to get in the room, but still things aren't working that well, and it might be because there's just one element of your psychology right now that is not working, and you're not truly fulfilling your potential. Because that initial belief in it just isn't there. Thus, the actions aren't congruent. They're not specific enough. The results are not backing up, that kind of belief you have in yourself if you could just get in the room. So we're going to hopefully, crush it all and just get people doing the things that they've never really done before, to get what they've never had before. Because ultimately, we say that a lot, Matt, as well, don't we? If you're gonna get things that you never had before, you've got to do things you've never done before. Simple as that. Basically, and thank you, Sarah. She says she's just booked a place on the free training on Saturday. But one more time, actonthis.tv/mindset. If you're listening before what's the date? 29th of October, you've still got time to do that. And if you're listening before the 26th of November, you've still got time to get a ticket for the full weekend at bulletproofactor.com. Matt, thank you for being here. We've ran 17 minutes over, mate. I've never done that before on a Monday night, but thanks for being here. We always go on and talk too much. But thank you to everybody who's here live. And how should we end it? I want to give them one sentence, Matt, more of why they want to be there on Saturday, and we'll say bye for now.
Well, the one that we've said a few times is, if you want to make the rest of your life the best of your life. Cheesy, but it's true. It's cheesy, but it's true.
Absolutely. Actonthis.tv/mindset and bulletproofactor.com. Thank you, folks. Really means the world. And don't forget, tomorrow night, I'm live with Downton Abbey casting director Jill Trevellick, 7:30 p.m. for all premium members of actonthis.tv. If you want to find out all about that as well and get involved in these Zoom calls every week with the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, producers, and directors in TV, go to actonthis.tv/live, check out the schedule and get your membership. So love to everybody. Have an amazing week. Get out there and get what you deserve, folks. Take more action and do that one thing now you've listened to this that maybe go that extra mile, that one thing you might not have done tomorrow. Do it now you've listened to this. So cheers, Matt. We'll do a little countdown, mate, and obviously the catchphrase. So until next time, folks, Matt, you know what time it is. In 3, 2, 1.
Bye
for now.